Hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook, that is Ion, and this is DU, the planet Ion, and this is my space station over the planet Ion. So I thought today I would cover a couple of things about mining calibrations, because my view on calibrations has actually changed a little bit, and so I'll go into that, and also talk about how to set up a mining operation. So this is Ion, which is a long way from Alioth. So I've got a space station set up here. This is only a single core space station. You put one level like this at the very top, and you put another level at the very bottom, and then you can fit a ship underneath and a ship on top. It's very important to have two places to land. So one you can land, say, a biggish ship, another one you can land a shuttle or another biggish ship. So it's good to have two, and I put the containers there under the floor of one of them so that it's not in the way. Try and keep the landing pads clear. So on the station you can store fuel. You can see me here refueling the ship that I actually just built last night. This is a new one I've built, and I specifically built this one to go from space station down to the Ion surface, pick up ore from the mines there and bring it back up and put it in containers here on the space station, and that's going to be all its job is, this particular craft. I've got another one at my space station on Simeon, and that's all that one's job is as well. And then my actual space station base is over Alioth, so I can take the ore back there with my big, when I say big, it's big for me, a 4 large container space only freighter with an extra large engine on it, and I use that to bring my stuff forward and back. So I need to go down to the surface of Ion and set up another mining unit. I couldn't afford to buy enough originally, and I still can't afford to buy a tier 4 mining unit or a tier 5 mining unit. Tier 5 mining units are about 75 million each currently, and a tier 4 ones are about 30 million each, and I don't even have 30 million at the moment. So I'm scraping money together. This ship cost about 3.5 million to build. It's got a large container, and it's got 20 medium wings, so it's great in atmosphere, with 3 large atmospheric engines and only 1 space engine and only 2 space brakes. So it doesn't need a lot of power in space, because it's really just going to the space station and off the space station like this. The what do you call them? Thrusters on the bottom that you use to maneuver around the surface. They're actually, on this particular model, they're just atmosphere thrusters. You don't need them when you land on a space station. You can just land using gravity if you set your space station up right so that the gravity of the planet is pulling through to the bottom of your station. So you just let gravity pull you down on the landing pad, and you don't need space capable stuff. So the atmosphere only, I forget what you call them, thrusters or whatever they are much better than the other ones in atmosphere. So if you can use just them, just use them. That's the advantage of having specific purpose only craft. Because the gravity's low here, it's only 0.3 G, you don't need a lot of power, so I've only got 3 large engines that'll get a full large container off. So here's our base, or one of our mining bases. I've got 2 here on Ion. Now I am going to put, I don't know if I've got one on this one yet, but I'm going to put a surrogate pod. No, I haven't. So surrogate pods are really useful. So this particular one I'm mining limestone, and it's also got silver. It's half and half. When you go to places like Ion, where it's mostly tier 3 ore, about 260 is about as much ore as you can get out of a 1 hex. So I'm putting down here a surrogate pod, and the reason is because you can now calibrate via VR, virtual reality, so you don't actually have to come down to the surface to do it. And I've made some sort of discoveries by doing this. So anyway, I'm placing a pod here, and on Ion I really need a pod at each of my mining sites. I've only got 2. I think in Simeon I'll eventually have 4 there, because I found some tier 4 and tier 5 there. So when you name it, my advice is to name them with all with the same prefix. So I've got AESS, which is Early Off Emergency Services. So start them all with a tag at the start. So then when you just type that in, it'll show all of your pod locations. So what I just did there too, you have to activate the pod and then you name the pod. If you don't activate it or name it, you won't be able to find it. So make sure you do that. So now we're just placing another unit down here to start mining the silver that's here. Actually, I think I do have another one just mining coal, which is mainly for fuel. And this one does both, but I do have another one that's just going to be two mining use just doing silver as well, but I don't have enough money to set them up yet either. Alright, so we're going to calibrate the unit, and what I want to show you, it's a bit small on my screen, I can't really see it on this screen. I've sped up the calibrations for you because you've already seen how to do that in the last calibration episode. So it says 97% there. But when we come back, I think you can see that says 76. So even though my skills are pretty good, they're all at least tier 4, some of them a bit more, I still only get 76 on your initial calibration, and that's something that I've learned here, is that your initial calibration, it's pretty much impossible to get 100% even if you've got really good skills. You can see that I'm drawing a fair bit, I'm getting some extra out of the tile. But on your second calibration, this is the big thing I've learnt now, is that your second calibration, the calibration stack. So if you have like a 50% calibrated unit and you come back and get a calibration result of about 50%, you'll end up with 100%. So if you calibrate every 2 days or something, it's really easy to keep it 100%. You actually don't need any calibration skill at all. So some of your skills cover efficiency, which is good. So some of them, you see as you're doing higher and higher tier ores, the efficiency actually drops. So you need these efficiency bonuses for mining higher tier ores. But as far as actually calibration goes, you don't need it. So I think it's this one. There's 100, yeah. So I'm going to deliberately go off and only calibrate to 75. Right, so I think this one was about 75 or 76 already, so I'm calibrating it, we've got 76 there. Right, so I deliberately did not put it on the hotspot, just to show you this. And you can see here in a minute that even though we didn't get 100%, you can see here our calibration is 100%. So it was about 75, we got 76, and it's 100. So the calibration stack. So I just did that to show you that. Now what that means is, because when you use the VR pods, your skills don't carry across into VR. This is just in case you want to know what silver looks like when it's on the surface. So yeah, your skills don't carry across in VR, but it looks as though it doesn't really matter, because even without any skills, you'll still get like probably more than 50% in your calibration. So as long as your unit hasn't dropped below 50, you'll still end up calibrating to 100 even in VR with no skills. So when I was saying in the last video about how important it was to have calibration skills because we couldn't get up to 100%, turns out you actually don't really need to have skills that are that good. Oh well. Now watch this, I nearly wiped myself out here because this ship is so maneuverable compared to my other ships that I nearly flip it and crash. Luckily I realised my area and save it, but yeah. So now we're going back up to the space station. We've grabbed some of the ore off there and go back up. And what I'm going to show you too in a minute is I'm actually going to go into VR and demonstrate calibrating through VR as well. So what I've realised too is that you get the pads which is what you appear on in VR, and you have the little booths as well. The booths are actually pretty cheap. The pads are not that cheap. But I've decided to put a booth. I've got a booth on my home space station Alioth so I can calibrate stuff from home. But I've also put one on my base on Sanctuary, where I've got some just tier 1 mining units there. I've also put them on the space station. So I've just put one on the Ion space station, and I'm going to put one on the Simeon space station, so that when I just sort of warp in and I come here, it's mainly not so much if I want to do anything here, it's more if I want to do something back on the base on Alioth. I can just VR over there, sort of thing. So if you get the space station between you and the planet, then the gravity will just pull you pretty much straight down. If you're on an angle, then it'll pull you on a bit of an angle. So as long as you get yourself position a station between you and the planet, it'll pull you down. Now most of my ships are much narrower than this. They don't have pods sticking right out the side, so I can just land them easily on the station. This one's a bit harder to land because it takes up a fair bit of room with those bits sticking out the side. But I just thought they look cool, so they've also got the wings in on those pods. It also, one of the funny things about this one is I also can put the when I'm taking a ship with me, which I did, I brought my shuttle out with me docked to that ship. I slow boated, out from Alioth, and I just stuck it underneath there and it fitted in well. Alright, so now we're going to go into a VR session. So this is the booth. I forget what they're called. They're not called booths, they're called surrogate something or others. And so your AESS is, I've got 2 of them named AESS at the moment, the others aren't, and so you have to just basically remember what they're called. And you know, a lot of people call things similar things, they name them after places or whatever, so we find there's lots of other people who have similar names. So there's my one there, for example. So what I'm doing now is I'm going around renaming them all, and they all start with AESS, so I can keep track of them all. Just type that in, they will come up. Unfortunately it's dark again, it seems to be dark everywhere in this video tonight, I'm sorry about that. So we've just VR'd into, this is our one on Simeon that is mining chromite, because I use X3 fuel, and I have set up a fuel refinery here as well. Last time you saw this in the last video, it was just mining X3 space fuel, but I've made it so it's also now doing nitron atmospheric fuel as well. It just means I have to bring in a bit of coal and quartz every now and then to help facilitate that. But I've got a recycling unit that makes hydrogen and hydrogen and oxygen on site for helping to make all the fuels. And yeah, so you can look at a container here. Is some of the stuff that we've refined, and I've made a bit of fuel. Also, because quartz and coal are just on the ground, I can, if it's an emergency, just get them off the ground if I just need to get some atmo fuel to get off the planet or something like that. So I think that one said it was at 71%. That one is actually, is this the one? I think it's turned off. Someone told me there's a bug where sometimes the units are turning off, so... So yeah, I've sped these up because you've seen it how to do it. I kind of do the same thing every time. You'll see now I put a cone in one side, then I put a cone on the other side, and try and do it that way. So you can see all the results there. Hopefully it's all making sense to you. Alright, and then you just exit, hit tab, and then hit exit, and you're back where you were before. So now we're not in Simeon, we're back on Ion. And now we're just going to actually go to Simeon, and I'm going to just go there in my warp shuttle. So the idea is I've got a ship here now. I'm going to leave that other ship here. I've already got a ship on the Simeon space station. So I'm just going to use the shuttle to go there. So this particular shuttle I've made, it's a warp shuttle. It's not atmosphere capable, it's only space capable. It used to be atmosphere capable, but I changed it. Oh, headphone warning. When we launch this, the female voiceover is really loud. I'm going to hit the warp drive now, so just watch out, headphone users.
Passengers immobilization starting.
Yeah. And she says something.
Warp sequence initiated.
She speaks again when we get to the end of the warp as well. What I want to point out here is you can make these really efficient. This one only uses one warp cell to go from Ion to Simeon, and it only uses 4 warp cells to go from Elioth to Ion. So it's very efficient. So this one used to be atmosphere capable as well, but once this patch was going to hit, I changed it. It's only for space, and I made it that way because I just really want to use it to get to my space stations and back again. I can always put wings and an atmospheric engine on again if I need to, but I'm really just trying to save warp cells by making it as light as possible.
Warp sequence completed. Passengers released.
So as you can see, that was real time. Warping is very fast. It would have taken about 40 minutes slow boating. So now we can set our destination to our space station. So I don't put my space stations right near warp points. I set them a bit off because if you're a pirate, you will expect people to have space stations near warp points, and so you expect them, if they're going to slow boat from their space station, which will be around about where the warp points are. So they will hang around near those points waiting to ambush you when you come out of safe space. So this is my ship you would have seen in the last episode. This is the Goose. Some sacrifices were made with this ship. It's not as good as it could be, simply because I wanted it to look like a goose. So you got to make sacrifices when you do stuff like that. And there's sacrifices on my other ship you saw as well, the blue and black one, because I wanted it to look that certain way, and so it's can't go as fast in atmosphere as it otherwise would. But hey, so we're going to head down now in the Goose down to Simeon surface. I forgot to set the destination on the surface, so we'll just do that now. Go to our Garnerite site. Now, the observant of you would have noticed that my little shuttle is moving as well. I don't think I had actually noticed myself at this stage. And I think I'll do a double take in a second. I think there I went, hey, what the? So what you do if that happens to you, it's basically, it thinks it's docked to the ship. So go back and land very carefully. And then what you do, this used to happen all the time. It hasn't happened for a while since they did the new docking system, but first time it's happened to me since I've come back. So then go back and use your move tool and move your little ship. By the way, always walk off a space station, don't run, because it takes too long to come back. Alright, so get your move tool and just move it, and you can see, you'll see a little line under it. See that line? And now it's gone away. That's a tether, like a docking tether. That's gone now, so we should be okay. But just to test, walk off the platform, don't run. Just to test it, what we can do now is try and move our mothership. So the daughter ship should be untethered, but if we move the mothership and the daughter ship doesn't move, then we know we've done it successfully. So we'll just try moving this one with the move tool now. And it doesn't look like the other ships are moving with it anymore, so it looks like we're okay. And might as well rotate it so I don't hit that bar I've got there. Here we are, we've landed on the surface of Simeon and we're at our Sim Garnerite site. We've only got one unit here because I couldn't afford to buy a second one, but I have now been able to afford to buy a second one, so we're going to put that down. It has about, I think it's, was it 260 or something? I can't read the writing on my screen on my little compilation software here, it's too small, but anyway. Oh, what I want to show you, I'm getting a 10% bonus, and it's because of this. I've got the hex next to it just to test the 10% bonus out. Oh, the server's about to reset. Anyway, what you'll notice is it says inactive because I made it a headquarter territory, so I don't have to pay tax. And even though it says inactive, it's still providing a 10% bonus. I don't know if that is an exploit, because they might patch it out. There's a patch. Actually, the servers are down right now as I'm making this video, so they may have patched it out already. I don't know, but yeah, even if you make it headquarters, which you don't have to pay tax on, it still gives you the 10% bonus. So go and do that if you want. Anyway, we've got about 100% on that one, but you can see the calibration result there. So once again, demonstrating that if you put down a new unit, even if you get 100% calibration with really good skills, it still won't give you 100%. It's still going to take a second calibration anyway, so you might as well just have terrible skills and calibrate it twice and get 100%. So there's no point in upgrading the calibration skills as far as I can tell. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it helped you a lot. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Cheapskate if you want to see more. And have fun.